We are, Mr. President, we are live.
Okay, ready to go? Call to order this regularly scheduled June meeting of the Huron City Schools Board of Education. Mr. Treasurer?
Mr. Jones. Here. Mrs. Green.
Here.
Mrs. Mass.
Here.
Mr. Slocum. Here. Mr. Ward.
Here. 1 week ago today, Huron alumnus, World War II combat veteran, and lifelong educator Richard Klein died at the age of 98. Let us have a moment of silence to remember a soldier, a teacher, an administrator, and coach whose commitment to God, country, family, and community inspires us all. Thank you. May we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4 on the agenda, the approval of this agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Treasurer?
Mrs. Mass.
Yes.
Mr. Jones. Yes. Mrs. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Slocum. Yes. Mr. Ward.
Yes. Item 5, the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead, John.
Second.
Mr. Treasurer?
Mrs. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Jones. Yes. Mr. Ward.
Yes.
Mrs. Mass.
Yes, we're the,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
it was corrected. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect, yes.
Item 6, we will go into executive session at this time to discuss confidential business, information of an applicant for economic development assistance.
So moved. Second?
Mrs. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Jones. Yes. Mrs. Mass.
Yes.
Mr. Slocum. Yes. Mr. Ward.
Yes. We will go.
We're back live.
All right, thank you.
I'm learning.
They taught you well.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience. We're going to call it item 6B on the agenda because of an error. This is the place for community participation. If anyone would like to address the board, you may do so at this time by stating your name, your address. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Thank you. Please limit your comments to not to exceed 5 minutes. We will allot a maximum of 30 minutes for this portion of the board meeting. So at this time, if anyone would like to address the board, you may do so.
Can you step up to the lectern for us? On camera. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ryan Hathaway. I'm a resident here in Huron. You said you need an address?
Yes.
536 Snowy Egret Drive. My main purpose this morning was just to come in and really just get an idea, ask questions more than anything about some of the hot point topics that are going on right now. Surrounding this whole critical race theory idea. There are some different names that, social equity or, different ideas that are getting floated around. I just wanted to ask the board, are there any thoughts on, first of all, I guess, are we doing anything with that today? And do we know if that's coming down the pipeline?
At this point, we are just teaching the Ohio and national content standards. So we are aligning our curriculum. There are no changes in our curriculum.
I know there's a couple of bills that I guess are being proposed now to actually ban that in Ohio. I don't know if that's been done or not. But I guess as far as the curriculum goes, can we get access to what that is? Copies of the curriculum or what's being covered? So is it safe to say, and this is just coming from concerned parents, is it safe to say that those standards that are listed on the website are not deviated from here at Huron with what curriculum is actually being covered?
Our expectation that each school, that's what we're measured by our district.
All right. Yeah, that was my main concern. I just wanted to ask that question. And then I guess secondly, I don't know how close I am on time, but the idea of this coming year and masks and social distancing and where we're currently at with that. I know, I've heard different things about we're going to wait and see what happens, but has there been a decision on right now what we're doing next year?
The only decision is we're monitoring what the recommendations are from the health officials because of the way situation is evolving, the variables associated with it. As of right now, when the governor changed June 2nd, he had mandated for the remainder of the school year following those mitigation strategies. He has not weighed in at this point to get moving forward. So we're going to monitor those recommendations. Great question. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Superintendent, thank you very much for addressing that.
Good questions.
Anyone else like to address the Board of Education?
Name's John Adams, and I live at 1124 Boulder Drive here in the city of Huron. Been a resident of the township in Huron for almost 25 years. We graduated science from this school system all very well, so appreciate the hard work that you all have done. Years ago, I was assistant wrestling coach, so I've been involved, an educator pretty much my entire life, mostly in the religious realm. Senior pastor for almost 38 years. That I see as well. Police Academy's here. And probably on the backs of what Emily said. Just as an educator and thinking about some of the things that are going on, and I'm not assuming that the Huron education system is kind of going the way of some of the liberal ways that we hear about. Concerned about whether education systems will start doing more political things versus just, our excellent education in math and science and history and government. And I guess that's part of my concern that this school system doesn't take that left turn and do that and become more political than strictly education. I personally believe that the school system should not be red or blue. It should just be education. I have my own personal views, like there's those on others, but I would just hope that our educational system and the Huron school system would hopefully continue in that vein. And I would encourage you to do that. I know there are a lot of parents that are concerned about that as well. So I'm not here to make any accusations or anything. I'm just saying, encourage, help you that there are a number of people that are hoping that the pressure from the outside does not bear upon this group and causes it to make some decisions that wouldn't be best for everybody. So just, some input. I hope that's what we're doing. I hope we don't take that left turn, and appreciate all your efforts to educate our children. We want them to do the best they can educationally in all these fundamental areas.
Thank you.
Let me ask a question.
Yes.
And running the risk of sabotaging this whole meeting, and this is really for both of you. Are you hearing something specifically that you can come forward and tell us that you think we're doing? Or are you just reacting to stuff that's out there, which is far removed from here on? Now, I mean, what are you really talking about? And what are we specifically doing that you don't like?
I didn't say that. I didn't say, I was just here to say, I know there are winds that are blowing. I hope that's not going to affect our educational system.
Fair
I'm not making any accusations.
Okay.
I'm here to encourage, let's not do that. Those winds are out there. There are pressures in other school systems. I hope this board, this school system doesn't bow to those pressures.
Yeah, I think you had mentioned far from Huron, but like John said, not that far from Huron. And me bringing that up was not a personal attack in any way, but it might be far from Huron today, but you're seeing all over the country that these ideas are coming to small towns. That's my main concern. That's why I brought mine up.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the board at this time?
Hi, my name is Katie Eleanor. I live at 414 Dockway Drive in Huron. Mostly I'm here because I'm sick of hearing rumors on the Huron. They tell me that this race theory is not approved in Ohio and that it's going to be just like mandated like everything else. They're going to be implemented in schools. And for the first time, I have someone in the school next year, and I just wanted to come and ask you guys about student and leaders and I just wanted to ask directly, so that's why I'm here. So I appreciate hearing from you guys straight instead of Facebook. And I honestly didn't know much about it, so I did a bunch of research before I came. I just wanted to come and ask if you guys have even heard about it and to research it so that when it does come, you know what we're talking about, why we're concerned about it.
Can I say something real quickly? This is very fascinating because last night I got a text from another parent asking me about critical race theory.
Well, that's what I'm
Can
talking about. So I talked to that same parent. and it's like,
What is critical? Can someone explain what this critical race theory is? I don't know. I don't know what it is.
So I have a little bit of background in so I played football on a D1 scholarship. I actually went to a all-black college. Okay. Not that gives me any kind of leg up, but I saw firsthand, 10 years ago, this critical race theory idea that is now being taught to kids in elementary school. And essentially what it is it's based on Marxist principles, which is essentially, this industrial worker versus capitalist idea. And essentially what happened now is race has taken place of class, if you will. So now it's basically division of races. So it's a push to essentially, divide us into two groups, the oppressor and the oppressed. And, inherently, if you're a black child, you're gonna fail because this kid over here is your oppressor. And I mean, that's a very, brash explanation, but essentially that's what's going on. And I can tell you firsthand, 10 years ago, I saw this in college where, I had teammates, friends that were just constantly being pushed that, you're going to fail. This guy is after you. He's got a leg up. And I've got a 5-year-old. I don't teach her that. And I don't expect the teachers to teach her that. So I'm glad to hear that Huron's, that it is far away. I hope it stays far away. And I think that's just kind of what we're concerned about.
Thank you for the explanation, because I just find it fascinating that all of a sudden there's this critical race theory. Even last night, what's going
It's
on?
becoming more mainstream. I'm sure you hear about it all over the news, but the scary thing is that you're seeing story after story where parents are going to school board meetings and standing up. And I think our goal here was just to find out what are we doing, not so much stop doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for making an effort to go beyond a Facebook page to do your own homework to find out. Yes, I appreciate that, because that's a thorn in our side. Enough people, they just think it's on social media. It's true. So thank you. Encourage your friends to do the same.
Anyone else at this time? Certainly, yeah. And yes, folks in the audience, you're welcome to, you don't have to hang out, and out of respect, you don't have to watch the rest of this, some might say paint dry type of committee meeting. So with no one else to address the board, we proceed to item 7, the superintendent report.
Thank you, Mr. Ward, again. For coming in and asking very relevant questions. In the same vein as talking about academics, which I think we do pretty well here, I do want to update the board on our district's efforts to address the extended and learning recovery plan that we have initiated related to COVID, but we're looking beyond COVID now. So if you would just entertain me for a few minutes, because I hope you find what's happening in Huron City Schools from an academic and professional learning standpoint kind of quite impressive. So what we had happening from summer learning camps with our students, school ended July 3rd, but not really. We have approximately 25 Shawnee students who are on site receiving summer tutoring right now in reading, utilizing the curriculum called Gordon Gillingham. That's a new reading resource. And I think Mrs. Hody's involved with that. So being here, Mrs. Hody. We have almost 30 Woodland students right now receiving extended learning support via an online program. That's available 24/7 for the students and families for those unique needs. But it's also supported by on-site teachers who are at the building throughout the day. We have over 24 Woodland students who are participating in a summer book club offered by Mrs. Lamb. We have intermediate and junior high students who are going to be participating in two-week-long learning camps in July and August. Through a partnership with BGS Youth Firelands and Dr. Gabrielle Matney, we have students grades 3 through 8 who have been invited to participate in a summer learning enrichment camp, math-driven, at no charge. And because of a generous donation throughout our community, there's no cost to our families. Registration fees are waived. At our high school, for the first time, we have Huron High School students participating in summer credit recovery opportunities from first and second semester. All of our students are participating, or all of the students who are participating in any of our summer learning camps, they will be eligible for a drawing to win a free Chromebook. And that Chromebook, that incentive is thanks to our Huron Chamber of Commerce through their Huron Strong initiative. So again, while school has ended, see, we have a large number of students who are participating in summer learning, extended learning, and recovery initiative. And again, thank you to our faculty and staff, Dr. McDonald, and our administrators for putting this together. And the learning does not end with just our students. We have staff summer learning institutes that are available. This is in coordination with our district's professional development committee. In other words, staff had input in putting this together. Again, under the direction of Dr. McDonald, we have created an extensive menu of summer learning opportunities, professional learning opportunities for our faculty and staff. As I mentioned, mainly it's our Shawnee staff. We have 10 staff members participating in summer Fort and Gillingham training. And again, that is a research-based English language arts support resource. All of the administrators are participating and will receive training in gender, sexualities, alliance training. This is being offered through one of our own faculty and staff members, Mrs. Adeline Jackson. We're looking to build support groups for our students, for our administration being trained in that. Administrators and staff are also going to be participating in emotional poverty. That's the work of Ruby Payne, again, a renowned poverty and the social impact of poverty research studies. Our folks are participating in that. Our Woodlands Title I teacher, Tracy Harbaugh, is going to be hosting a book study for staff members over the summer. That book is called Balanced Learning, so we appreciate Mrs. Harbaugh. The administration team will continue our work with the Huron Leadership Academy, working with Dr. Kitty Brandel. Throughout the summer, we are participating in our own book study, Emotional Intelligence 2.0. There will be weekly meetings with the admin team. We also have staff have been invited to participate in a summer alerting opportunity for a new data warehouse called Data Map. It's something we purchased to house all of our district academic data, one-stop shop, if you will. And our own school psychologist, Dr. Kathy Knight, she's going to be hosting 2 half-day sessions. The first half-day session is on trauma-informed care and tying into our social, emotional, and mental health initiative that we have as a district. And Dr. Kathy Knight is also hosting a half-day session on journey into special education, what it looks like from a parent standpoint and from a faculty and staff standpoint. So again, our faculty and staff, our students are very active during the summer. There is a commitment to getting better. There's a commitment or a growth mindset to improving, challenging the process. So again, I'd like to acknowledge the work of, again, Dr. McDonald, our entire faculty and staff, our entire administration team, for again, challenging the process, thinking about students and extended and recovery for learning. So, any questions regarding what's happening?
I have a question. Can you or can Dr. McDonald kind of expand or explain what the training is on gender and sexual alignment for our teachers? Is that something that's going to be built into a curriculum, or is it just helping our staff understand?
were approached. How to make so we started talking. Like the academic. What is it look like? Studying high school and running groups for students that are permanent. So we'll tackle all of that. All of us needed to understand. So, my experience with what is it? So Airline's gonna give us an answer this Friday, and then we'll offer a similar training to staff. They're interested in it. So they were able to, I don't remember. Every week. Just getting our feet wet.
So it's not really a curriculum, it's just a workshop for understanding. So staff can understand how to come alongside a student that might be struggling with some kind of identification or things like that. Okay. Sure. Sure. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that.
Conclude your report. Item 8, treasurer report.
Why do I always feel like I'm the rain on the parade or something? Okay, let me pull a couple one thing up here real quick. I want to share my screen with you. All right, so I'll try to make it, I got quite a bit that time of year, but just a few things here. Yeah, well, I just want to point out one thing on our investments. You see Star Ohio Plus, got $8.57 in there. That's the point of that is not anything on our end, is that Star Ohio Plus has gone away. It's a statement on interest rates that banks are offering. Star Ohio Plus invested in essentially savings in banks at guaranteed rates. Savings rates are so low that it didn't make any sense for it to exist anymore. So the money we had in there ended up getting put into Star Ohio. That's just more of a general economics. What do I say? Point than anything else. I can zoom this thing in. Well, you can't see that. Point is, we're with one month, actually 1 month left. We're at 98% of our revenue. We're not getting more revenue for the month effect, and 90% of our expenses. We're in good shape. Online supplies been a year better than expected. And right now, at the May forecast, I forecast deficit spending of 667,000. We may get actually less than 600,000. So there's some good news there. We're going to end up spending a little bit less than what we end up better than. It doesn't change the needle, but that's what we're trying to do. We're watching our pennies and dimes at this point. This is in your packet. The highlighted areas are grants that we've spent. And I just want to point out that we're spending all the money that we're getting. For example, on ESSER, it's not on here, this is only ESSER 1, but ESSER 2 funds, which is $700,000. That's the second round. We've already spent 130,000 of it. So we're using these monies as they come in to support like the summer learning stuff that Denny pointed out, as well as the technology. We are working on ESSER 3, which is that's the $1 million round, and Dr. McDonald's getting community input from the community and stuff like that. We'll be building that budget here. When's that budget we have to be submitted by? Julie, remember? Yeah. And really, they want us to do is they want us to spend ESSER 1, then ESSER 2, and ESSER 3. We're spending ESSER 1 and 2 at the same time. There's not much in ESSER 1 left. And then ESSER 3, pick on. We've got till September 2024 to spend that. And I think that's, I want to talk about it financially. So we're tracking about where we expected. I think that's where we are. This one, I'll be asking you to approve transfers to food service and athletics. Right now, I think I have, what I'm asking for is probably more than we need. Of course, in July, I'll tell you exactly what we transfer, and that's where I can close the books on the year. Food service, right now, we expect about 35,000 to 100,000 last year. Okay, so it's an improvement, and we have one more year right now, free and reduced, so we should be able to keep our revenues up, and we just continue to look at trying to somehow contain costs best we can. Denise does a good job getting all the programs she can, so it's just structurally we have a difficulty with 4 kitchens. That's just districts our size run on 1 or 2 kitchens. They have 1 or 2 buildings, not 4, and it's a structural issue. They'll be asking to approve the scholarship recipients. There'll be two recommendations: final and temporary appropriations. The final appropriations are just that for this fiscal year. The temporary appropriations allow us to start spending on July 1, and they're pretty well. Some treasurers go in and just put an amount in just so we can start spending. I try to hit that as close as I can. Well, I know we don't have our grant allocations yet, but the general fund stuff should be pretty close. And then asking you to approve a resolution allows me to transfer advance money and change appropriations so I close the year. The difficulty of having a board meeting 2 weeks in the year is we're still spending money till the end. A lot of districts wait until the last day of the month they have a board meeting so they have final numbers. Well, and you allow me to do that, then I'll come back to in July and tell you exactly what I did. And the auditors seem to be happy with that. A couple other things on there. I'll ask you to approve salary schedules for the central office admin team. They just match with the teachers, 1% cost of living, and that was built into the forecast. That's just kind of standard practice for the district has been whatever the teachers have gotten into the central office admin staff. And that's really it on my part. If there's anything else I missed here. A few contracts that are just normal procedures. So.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Any questions for the treasurer?
No, it's a
On
lot.
his report?
I will be, by the way. I want to mention one other thing. I don't know why I didn't make it on my notes here, but next fiscal Tiger, I want to talk about excess costs and catastrophic costs. We just got our check for our deposit for catastrophic costs. And just kind of reminder, excess costs is all special education. So if we have a student open enrolled into the district, we can charge back to that home district excess costs. That's cost above our normal expense to educate a child. So it costs us, let's say, $10,000 to educate a child on average, but that child costs us $25,000 because they need an aid or something like that. We can charge that excess cost back to the district of residence, and it goes both ways, right? Catastrophic costs are costs over a threshold. I can't remember, the threshold's around $30,000 that we essentially say, hey, we had all these costs for over $30,000. We send it to the state. The state takes all that requests from all the districts and say, I've got this much money, and they divide it up. So we had about $178,000 in excess costs. And we got $43,000 payment. That's about less than 27%. I went back and looked. Our excess cost, our catastrophic costs are going up a little bit. The reimbursement is dropping. 4 years ago, we got 38% and 34, 32. And so that special education piece, I just want to point out, that's one people to understand. As a public school, we have to educate every child. Free and appropriate education. For example, we have a child, we're going to be sending to Cleveland to a special school. Transportation on that child alone is going to be $40,000.
Randy, did they use the same formula that they use for just foundation money? Like, are we considered too rich? So we
No,
only
no, no.
got-
What they do is they take all the requests. So let's say the state has budgeted $10 million for catastrophic costs. They get in, 200 million in requests. They just divide it up proportionally. So it's not a wealth factor. It's just, that's how much money they provided, so. And the Senate bill, Senate has not decided not to go with the House bill on fair funding formula. The Senate, I don't know what the problem is. The Senate is using old numbers. And it's not, Senate, what they're proposing is not sustainable either. And it gets, the Senate bill would, the biggest problem with the Senate bill is it keeps the state share index in place, which means it's not just your valuation, but your valuation relative to someone else. So let's say rural districts, ag land drops in value, we get even richer looking, even if our valuations don't go up. So all that's going on.
The Senate bill is funding per pupil 2008, 2009 levels, which is a substantial decrease. And there's a substantial increase in education vouchers. We're working up greatly with the Senate bill. So the Senate bill is not passed.
For anyone who doesn't get the Plain Dealer, there was a really great article in the Plain Dealer on Sunday about the House bill, Senate bill. It was very informative.
The Senate is determined to expand vouchers. Yeah. And from a public education standpoint, my position typically is I have this conversation with Father Jeff at St. Peter's and says, no problem with educating kids, just have the same standards that we have. Child comes here, we have to educate them, no matter what their needs are. And they don't necessarily have that same restrictions. So that's kind of that's my short. So anyway, so that's where I am, reports wise.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Any other questions for the treasurer on his report? If not, item 9, treasurer recommendations.
So I'll ask you to approve the financial statements as of close of business on May 31st. Item B is final appropriations for FY 21. And then item C is temporary appropriations for FY 22. Item D is the Huron Public Library tax budget. We are their financial agent and we have to approve that all their tax money comes through us. That's all that. That's item E is donations. We had $1,600 in donations. Item F are contracts for the next fiscal year. Vincent is our IT support that we've seen that we saw an increase in that, but the amount of student devices we have and the amount of teacher technology, we needed some help. So they're putting some extra bodies in the district to help us with that. And part of that, we hope to be able to move off on the ESSER support. HBC Medicaid, they do our Medicaid billing for us. So we do get some reimbursement on special education from Medicaid. Agreement with a press agreement, that's for special needs students. And Republic Waste, we got a new contract with Republic Waste for 3, that's on there because it's a 3-year contract. Item G is asking you to approve up to $50,000 general fund of food service. I expect it to be around 30 or 35,000. I just want to give you some wiggle room in case something happens. And then item H, athletic transfer up to 20. That's going to be more closer to 13,000. We'll have to transfer money into state tournament money because bad thing about having kids go to state, it got to be paid for somewhere. But it's all good, right? So item I is the class of 21 scholarship recipients. Item J is just authorize me to do whatever I need to be able to close the books essentially and make sure I report back. Item K is FY 22 salary schedule for administrative staff. And item L is the salary schedule for central office. And that's all of it.
Discussion?
By the way, on the salaries, they're built into a 5-year forecast for this year, but there's nothing built in for next year. Okay, negotiations with the teachers next spring.
So, okay, thank you.
A second.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Drew?
Any discussion? I'm
Oh,
sorry. Any discussion on any? Okay, I'm sorry.
I
No,
overstepped my bounds there.
it's all right,
Mr.
Mr.
President.
Treasurer.
Mrs.
Go ahead.
Mast,
Yes.
Mr. Slocum? Yes. Mr. Ward?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Nope, that's quite all right.
Pause.
Superintendent, item 10 on the agenda, your recommendations,
Okay,
please.
thank you. Item 10 are all personnel-related recommendations. Item 10A, I would ask the board to approve. We have several staff members who will be participating in summer learning camps. That's the extended and recovery learning that I mentioned in the report. Item 10B, we have again related to summer learning for extended school year. Candace Fletcher will be offering those services, and those are driven by a student's individualized education plan. Item 10C, asking the board to approve a half-day, non-pay day for Dale Ritter for personal reasons. Same thing, item 10D, a non-paid days for Christine Pisano, again, for personal reasons. Item 10E, I would ask that the board approve, this is a multi-pronged, if you will, asking that you approve Will Wiseman for an assistant boys track coach in 21 season, but that after you approve him, it will be non-renewed because of an oversight internally. He was not on the last agenda, so all supplementals are non-renewed. So that's why that's a double approval. That's item 10E. Item 10F, I would ask the board to approve athletic supplementals for the head coaches of fall and winter sports for 2022, allowing them to start camp work in as listed. Item 10G, asking the board to approve the resignation letter of Nadine Kesey. Nadine is an intervention specialist at Shawnee, and Nadine is relocating due to a spouse's career change. Item 10H, asking the board to approve Summer Learning Institute participation for staff. Again, participating at different levels through summer professional learning as listed for a maximum of hours. And item 10I, I would ask the board to approve the resignation of Brandy Copa, school counselor, grades 7 through 9. Again, Brandy is resigning due to spouse. She's living towards the Toledo area. There's a medical residency and allowing them to be closer to where he works. Again, I want to stress with Nadine and Brandy, what a fantastic job they have done as an intervention specialist for our district and as a school counselor. That's a new position, remember, grades 7 through 9. That's part of our mental health initiative that we have in the district. Item 10J, I would ask the board to approve the resignation of educational aide Tim Fleck. And Tim had served at Woodlands and at high school over the past several years. We wish Tim well in his second retirement. Item 10K, again asking for the approval of resignation of Tracy Bauer, who was an educational aide. Tracy is on our recall list. Her position was eliminated last year, and she has found other employment. And that is it under personnel. So I would ask board approval of items 10A through K as presented.
Second?
Discussion? Mr. Treasurer?
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Mast?
Yes.
Mr. Slocum?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes. Item 11, resolution of necessity, emergency tax levy.
Let me remind the board, items 11 and 12 are both resolutions of necessity. These do not commit the board to a ballot issue. All they do is allow me to file, like with the either city county auditor or the tax commissioner. They'll give us final numbers, and then resolution of necessity goes on the ballot on the next, you have a month then to decide. Yeah, if we're gonna put something on November, it's got to be filed by August 4th. So that's why the timing is.
So the July meeting, ultimately, we would want to make this decision.
Honestly, sometime between August or August 4th.
Yeah, or a special meeting after that, but by August 4th.
So these are not, you're not committing the district to anything at this point, just allows us to keep the ball rolling. There's no real cost to it at this point. Now, we're not public relations, but other than that, I don't want to underplay that.
Of course.
So the first item 11 then is emergency tax levy. That is the property tax levy. It matches exactly what we had on the ballot in May. It's in an amount the county auditor then would give us the millage, which I expect it could be 5.5 rather than 5.6 or 5.4. It could actually be a little bit lower, but it's going to be around the same amount.
Motion?
So moved.
Anyone with questions or discussion?
I have a question. Has anyone come to either you, Denny, or you, Randy, saying that they are interested in heading a levy committee? Thanks.
Mr. Treasurer?
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mrs. Mast,
Yes.
Mr. Slocum,
Yes.
Mr. Ward.
Yes.
Item 12 is resolution of necessity for income tax. Again, we put the amount down and then the tax commissioner will tell us what the percentage is, but obviously we work backwards, right? We have an estimate. The tax commissioner give us the numbers of what 1% is, and that's what this number reflects, but they'll do the actual calculation again. And it has to be in 1/4% increments. 7/8 would make more sense number wise, but 3/4 not quite enough, and 1% probably just, it's a little bit more than obviously a property tax, but then there's delay in collection on it. So
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion?
So we are just approving the necessity. We are not committing, like you said, to either of these. So we can still revisit one or the other or a combination.
yes, well, we are somewhat stuck at this point. We'll have to do one or the other, or you could do both. We couldn't split them at this point. If we thought we needed to, we could probably have to have another.
We're eliminating the 0.5, 3.2 idea,
But
if I hear you right.
right now, if we could, if between now and July, there's some work, we could put those two together and then have and pass a resolution of necessity for those, and then potentially get a special meeting before August 4th on that. Yeah, it's because they have to be sent off to send us. They certify the numbers that we put in the resolution to proceed. That's what it's all about. And oh yes, so sorry, it's a long answer, Jody. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I asked the question.
I wish it was easier way.
I believe we have a second. Any further discussion or additional questions? Mr. Treasurer?
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mrs. Mast,
Yes.
Mr. Slocum.
Yes.
Mr. Ward.
Yes. Item 13, committee reports. Member of the board have a report to submit relative to a committee on which you serve.
One thing I can bring up is that still is looking favorable, believe it or not, for the July 10th Riverfest Day, which I am part of on behalf of the school. I'm waiting to hear back from some sponsors. We got a very generous donation from the city for fireworks. The Lions Club has once again volunteered and are working already on parade. So I don't have a definite answer right this minute, but it looks like people want it, and so I think something will happen.
Great.
Very good.
There is a
That's
parade.
good news.
District was going to participate, school bus, I believe staff walking, distributing water. Pre-COVID. we were
Sure.
Represented in the parade.
Very good.
Have you been, has anyone been in touch? Has the Lions Club gotten in contact with you or anyone?
We were just talking to the Rotary.
Oh, okay, okay. So that's cool. Okay.
Athletically, Mr. Drew, you're referred to state tournaments and expenses. We had 11 track and field athletes qualify for the state meet, over 7 events, which no one remembers that many qualifiers. We've had some good individual tracksters. We've had some great relays over the past. We've had some great teams, but that number is significant. We're very proud of them. Anyone else? Item 14, we will, anything?
No.
Okay. Item 14, we will go into executive session. This is for the purpose of considering, let's see, an employment compensation. It's a personnel matter.
Negotiations.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. Review of negotiation. So if, again, you could excuse us?
Need a motion in a second.
We do. Thank you.
So moved.
And there will be action probably taken after.
Yeah, there will be action. I have to say that. Yes, Mr. Treasurer.
Mr. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mrs. Mass.
Yes.
Mr. Slocum.
Yes.
Mr. Ward, stay in the.
Yes. So we don't need a motion to come out. We need a motion to go in.
Right.
Gotcha. Brian, have a nice day. See you, Steve.
Why don't we go?
I didn't realize I was on the camera when
I got my best side. Right here.
20, Mr. Treasurer.
We are live.
Item 15 on the agenda. Welcome back, Mr. Superintendent. Item 15 on the agenda, new business. Is there new business anyone would like to bring before the Board of Education?
Yes, I do. I would have the honor of asking for approval of a renewal for our treasurer, Mr. Randy Greer, going from step 0 to step 1.
Second.
3-year.
3-year, I'm sorry, 3-year, 3-year,
Commencing.
commencing 2022,
23.
22,
School year,
23,
will
yep.
be year 1 of the
Yep.
3-year
Yep.
and step 1. Gotcha. That's on the table. Any other details that mentioned for the record? Is that covered? Ms. Mast has a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I second.
Discussion? Only to say enthusiastically. Certainly. Mr. Treasurer?
Fast.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Slocum.
Yes.
Thank you very much. A lot going on and
We also have make a motion to approve the agreement between the Board of Education and the Huron classified employees as presented. Discussion? Mr. Treasurer? Yes, good congratulations to all concerned, both sides.
Classified staff, yes.
Indeed.
Green.
Publicly thank our Huron Classified Education Association for the collaborative spirit, big picture in mind, seeing the needs of not only the members, but also the great needs of the district. Shape the spirit of the team. Such a great.
Mr. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mrs. Mast.
Yes.
Mr. Slocum. Mr. Ward.
Anyone else? Yes, yeah, thank you. Anyone else have new business before the board? I have a letter to report to the board submitted to me and Mr. Dreyer. It is with mixed emotions that I share this message with you. On Monday, June 14th, I accepted Chief of Staff position with the Sandusky City Schools. While I am pleased to be returning to my alma mater and hometown, the Huron faculty and staff will always remain near and dear to me. I want to express my sincerest gratitude to the entire Huron education community for trusting and supporting my leadership over the past 8 years. As a team, we have faced every challenge with courage and integrity, always rallying around what is best for kids. My resignation as superintendent of Huron City Schools is effective July 1st, 2021. It has been an honor to serve Huron's children. Go Tigers. Sincerely, Dennis Murtori. Is there a motion to accept the resignation of our superintendent? Yep, then what?
I will make the motion.
Second with regret.
Discussion.
Yes.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Yes, and with the thanks of a community, especially those of us who remembered or who remember what you stepped into. I always referred to Mr. Murtori as our Gerald Ford. You remember it came in, pardon me for being a social studies teacher for a moment, during, immediately after Watergate, and really with a steady hand managed our country out of that. And I think going back that far, we owe this professional educator a debt of gratitude. And not only that, but managing us during making tough cuts, managing scarce resources along with various treasurers, but managing scarce resources to maximize educational opportunities for our students. Thank you.
Educator, appreciate that. Of course, JSF, years back. Grateful. Thank you.
Any other new business before this board?
I just have a question. In light of the resignation of Mr. Moratori, is it necessary for us to have some kind of special meeting to discuss next steps, discuss search, to discuss if we, would like to form some kind of search
Yes.
team? I just feel like it's paramount that we do that sooner rather than later.
I believe, unless anyone else feels otherwise, we have two options now, and that is to discuss it as new business or to schedule a special meeting. Am I right?
We need to, on July 1st, we need to have some kind of interim superintendent in place on July 1.
By law,
And when do we decide that?
decide that on July 1st. District cannot operate without a superintendent. Treasurer, those are the only.
So we would have to do it now or schedule a special meeting.
Write checks after. You have to hire them, interim, whatever, interim contract you want to do.
Saying that do want to go for an interim from the outside and come in for a certain period of time, whatever that is. If you don't get them right away, we have someone on staff acting interim.
So we could have a 2-week interim.
Have to have.
Yeah, we could have a 2-week
Have to have that.
interim.
For my previous district, we had the 30 days where we weren't going to have a superintendent for various reasons. High school principal had a certification, they made an interim.
Okay, or acting superintendent.
It's an interim.
Or interim.
That's the thing, they would be the superintendent.
Yeah, someone with that designation.
It's important because you've got hiring has to be done. You can't hire without the recommendations of the superintendent.
I prefer to work it out now.
I guess the only ask that I would have is that whoever goes in as interim isn't interested in applying for the position. I don't want anybody else that's applying to feel like that person got a heads up by getting to manage the district even a month or two. I would prefer it be someone who doesn't. I just know when we've done that with OSU, they prefer, if you're going for the position, we don't want you to be the interim because it gives you a heads up, a foot up in the process.
Is it?
What if we have no choice? What if?
Well, I know that there's like multiple superintendents out there that will, North Point had found this, like John Burkle.
But I guess I'm talking about if we have someone in district who is capable of stepping in as interim superintendent while we do the North Coast thing, and that person then would like to throw their name in to be, I guess I don't have a problem with that, because they're really helping us out.
That really would limit us.
Yeah, I mean, that really limits us.
If they aspire.
With respect to the preference. We could name, well, potentially. Could we name a contingency superintendent? Imagine, if,
you have someone who has a certification, literally all special meetings.
we have to determine if that person's interested in that position.
Well, you can have someone on staff that say, signatures, and actions.
Right.
Because we've got a couple of weeks to take some phone calls to see what's out there, we're thinking about bringing some.
But then if we do that, we're gonna be spending a couple weeks in special meetings or executive session anyway,
Exactly.
interviewing interim superintendents. Whereas if we have someone who's in district who's willing to step up and take that, then that buys us a little bit more time instead of spending weeks in special meetings and executive session trying to hurry up and find someone.
I agree.
So staff.
If they want to.
Behind that.
What?
Create a hole behind that.
Depends on who the person is, right, right. Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So let's face it. Basically enough, I'm thinking back 8 years or so, there's not a ton of people, we're not gonna have a bunch of interviews that interim superintendents. We're gonna get 1 or 2 that we can find, we're gonna have to shake the trees and find them.
Because people just want to be superintendents, they don't want to be interim.
So low.
Right.
There's just not enough of them. These guys retire, when these guys retire, they're going, they're gobbled up, or they stay retired. They're smart. But sometimes it's lucrative not to.
If there is an internal, if you have someone internally, depending on how long you plan to have a position, sort of that can be like a difficult job. They don't have a replacement backbone right away.
I think it buys us some time. I just think
It
it buys us time.
Reaction.
And I think it's beneficial to us that we do have someone in district that is capable of that. We could have nobody and then we scramble.
Have a need to make sure that. And that's one thing. Then have a leadership void as well. That's another thing.
Correct. There's gonna be shuffling no matter what.
Now, so.
Yeah, there's gonna be shuffling no matter what. I guess we need to look at and it's something that we need to discuss in executive session, but we need to look at who that candidate is, what duties they would have to be shuffling around and how it all fits. So there's still some unanswered questions.
That being said, I think that's.
Yeah, I think this thing could grow a lot of legs quickly.
And then maybe at that same, I would think at that same meeting, point, develop language. No, so do that and continue on with the point, right?
Have some. Or general things. We got to get down to.
Let's talk about who this person is.
Yeah, that's the other thing
Salary.
we gotta air out. How soon can everyone reconvene in a special meeting?
Tomorrow, this afternoon?
I
I mean, let's get it, let's.
But wait, we've gotta have public notice, so this
Yeah.
afternoon is not possible. 48 hours, what's the notice requirement? 24? So the soonest we could meet would be tomorrow afternoon. Notice would be today. Does anyone have a preference between Wednesday and Thursday?
Thursday morning, I have a commitment. I need to take my mom to a doctor's appointment, Bellevue, so I will be tied up from 9 to 10:30, maybe 11.
What about Thursday, 5 p.m.?
I
Possible?
can't.
I can't really.
It's
do that.
Thursday, 5 p.m. I have a
Thursday out.
Thursday at that time.
Thursday.
I would prefer, like she said, 11 o'clock matches. Mrs. Mass suggests either 11 or I know or early afternoon. Unless we're concerned about getting.
Thursday at 5, I have a commitment, but it's very short.
I'm assuming
So it could be 6.
session for
Yes, it could be
the most
6.
part, right?
I'm professionally interested in not devouring up
Majority of it might be-
business hours. So I'm a fan of 6 Thursday. 6 Thursday,
I would prefer not to do that.
6 Wednesday. 6 Wednesday, or does 5 Wednesday work for you?
Could we keep it consistent with what our board meetings are? We're at 6.
Well, they're 8.
They're not gonna be allowed to come anyways, they're
We'll
just.
go right into executive session.
I have Wednesday is fine. Thursday is out for me in the morning. And at 5, but it's gonna be a very short.
Thursday afternoon. I have some tentative plans for tomorrow, but I mean.
So
Right.
Thursday at 5 doesn't work for Jody. So what I'm hearing is Wednesday at 5 or Thursday at 6. Does anyone have a problem with Wednesday at 5 or Thursday at 6? I would say Wednesday at 5. And then that, of course, puts the burden on the treasurer to get the notice out. Is that okay? I mean, is it, would you rather go Thursday at 6?
I don't like either one for me, but that's just. What do you like? During the day works better.
Realize our.
I know, I'd like to get it done this week.
Okay, fine. Then let's. Fine.
Wednesday, 5 o'clock, sure. Wednesday, 5 o'clock, everyone agreeable?
If that's what.
Yeah, I've got personal stuff like crazy. I'm changing to professional. I've got to reduce, or minimize, obviously. As I said, Wednesday, 5 p.m., we'll have a special meeting. Any other new business? If not, I will call this meeting adjourned, I will, motion to adjourn. Thank you. I'm getting there. 6 months in.
Second,
Mass.
yes.
Screen.
Yes.
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 Yes. Meeting adjourned.
By the way, it's one of those tricky things, President, that can close a meeting without.
Yeah, I've heard that.